fake government peace treaties, what they was using to display in front of your face to keep you in prison, in your mind and in your own motherfucking land. That shit over with. I love my family. My sisters got a right to their birthright. I don't see why, as a brother, I couldn't allow no motherfuckers to just take their shit, and I know they got something that's being kept from them. Money. If I know you owe it to a nigga, I'm coming to get that. And I found out my sisters was owed some shit. And I figured out how to go get that shit. Motherfucker, battlefield of the goddamn man. The game of the gods is best played when you realize your God status. You can't say you know God and don't do no God work. The most important and the most critical aspect of being the God self is realizing the self as the God form. That means no low self-confidence, because you can't use your God form with low self-confidence. Low self-confidence is the cause of jealousy, deceit, backbiting, and all of the deadly sins are all rooted in the low self-esteem aspect. That means you vibrating at your lowest energy. That's all it really means. Because some people say look at it as energy, so in the energetic formula, when you're low self-esteem, right, look at the word steam. How do you generate steam? You boil water. That means when you're not breathing right, and you're not controlling your breath, you're not controlling your soul fire, and when you're not controlling your soul fire, the water in your system is starting to dehydrate. Now the dehydration is starting to set in, your cells starting to shrivel up. So now your DNA starting to contract, because now you're suffering from accumulated dehydration. When your cells started to crush your motherfucking DNA, they started to grow in on themselves, and they tell you got cancer. They never told you it was caused because you had low self-esteem and didn't know how to breathe, and that you didn't keep your filters clean. That's what they didn't tell you. Your body is self-correct when you correct the error. The same with your psychology, but you got to be perceptive enough to find the error. Some of us are not. So some of us find the error, and we try to help the others by pointing out the errors we find. We vex the grievance to one another. We tell them the things that are oppressive and ill-natured. That's why they call them the watchers. What are they watching? The flow of life. They don't interfere. The observer don't interfere with the experiment, even if the experiment takes him into the motherfucking game. The observer don't interfere until it's time to interfere. So it's the same as the liar in wait. He laying there waiting on your ass to do some dumb shit so he can put you back in line. When somebody start waking them motherfuckers up. And there's one motherfucker they were never supposed to wake up. He the last motherfucker to wake up. And you only wake him up when the shit got so bad you need the terror on the scene. But then you got to give him a life that's going to produce a type of individual that's going to not be just a blind terror. He's going to be a balanced individual to the point where he can control himself enough not to just go fucking bananas and haywires on these motherfuckers and go to behead motherfuckers like he in the goddamn medieval days with swords and goddamn 357s and shit. So we couldn't have so they had to do, close but similar. You had to keep them balanced enough to grow straight. My mom used to say, stake them potatoes, those tomato plants, boy, so the weight of the fruit don't pull the branch down, the stalk down. So you have to stake them. How the fuck you do that? And that's what the cane for. The cane bop them straight when they get out of line. Spare the right child. That's fatherline. Just supposed to bump them straight. Motherline make them wise. The rest of it nature take care of. You teach them the fundamentals of learning. Look, you go, come here baby, this is your ABCs. And they can say the ABCs and equivalently count, then you say this is how the ABCs sound. That's called phonics. This is the phonics of those symbols. Now they got the phonics. You give them the phonics. You give them the dictionary. Go ahead. Give me 5 words a week out of there. You can pick whatever you want to read the dictionary. Then, when they get where they can read, you give them speed reading. You don't go through that rote learning shit, slow your brain down, detox shit. The child's brain need to be harnessed operating at a high speed. That way, when you get harnessed at a low speed, when it get to the threshold, what happens? If it go past that, it go haywire. And they call your child all kind of psychologically disturbed from that. But it's just that they mental aptitude was trapped, and the only thing it let out was a creative rage, because it frustrated the patriarchal side, the left side of the brain. COINTELPRO counterintelligence program was originally written to allegedly weed out dissidents in the government from the communist regime. But all of their documents was only focused on one thing: stopping the rise of any potential messiah who could incite the masses. And the only thing in there that showed any commonality in what they would be looking for as a messiah is the ethnicity of the 3 people named in the mission statement: Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King. So they only named 3 black people in there, which gave the automatic reference or inference from the face of the document that they were primarily concerned about a black messiah. Years later, it is recorded that some of the FBI agents said that they were on the lookout for a black messiah. So they was looking for some nigga that can incite the masses with some motherfucking ability to speak or some shit. But they wanted him to stop them. But if I think about it, from observing me correctly, no matter what religion around the world, when you go against God, you always lose. So whoever this black messiah guy is supposed to fucking be, well, maybe we found him. But we got to know what messiah means in order to figure out if we found him. And the whole thing being now is they planned the plan to destroy us. They threw everything at us, including the kitchen sink and the bathtub. And guess where we at? We still fucking here. They said they was going to destroy us, and we still fucking here. Now all we got to do is figure that part out and come with the unity aspect. This peace treaty signed, it's a done deal. This peace treaty signed, it's a done deal. So that's what we waiting on. So you got a lot of us going over the weekend. We gonna be having puffy eyes, and while the OGs put the final touches on the shit, and we'll see what happened next. But that's the biggest shit right there. So you got your Obamagate. That shit hitting that shit hitting hard right now. You got your Bill Gates confession on the Bill Gates, burn that bitch down too, where he's showing him doing his presentation on shutting your pineal gland off using the virus. Listen to what he's saying. He's telling y'all the plan. This shit is all fabricated. They was trying to get rid of us. But if you remember, one was a rapper once said, "We ain't gonna never leave this motherfucker. We ain't gonna never move off this bitch unless y'all choose to. Use your brain." I kind of like the way that sounds, you know. And my OG said we need to stop gang banging and start brain banging. So I went to brain banging because, you know, I always respect my elders because my mama taught me to be respectful of my elders. And if they say we ought to be brain banging and not gang banging, well, first of all, I got to figure out what that is. So once I figure out that means that we ought to be doing more thinking for, with, and of each other than thinking on how to undercut each other, then I start putting this shit together. Yeah, that fluoride, a motherfucker. Calcify. That's why it's in the water. Calcify the pineal gland. But it's another part of the brain. I can't think of what it is right now. It affects that makes you docile. It's not the pineal. It's another one of the gyruses or some shit. But anyway, it causes you to become submissive, less combative. Well, that shit don't work on me. I'm a rebellious motherfucker with or without fluoride. Goddamn right, Pop. You know, with or without fluoride, I'm a rebellious motherfucker. I'm the black sheep. I'm the gorilla pounding his chest and all that shit. But at the end of the day, I want to see my OGs on the street. I mean, motherfucker don't need to stay in there that long. They ain't did nothing that none of these motherfuckers in D.C. didn't do. And they ain't there sitting in prison. We ought to dump the motherfucking politicians in the prisons and let them motherfuckers in the prisons sit in them goddamn positions. That's what we need to be fucking doing if we want to turn this shit back right. You know? Everything they charged Larry with, they found George Herbert Walker Bush, Oliver North, and Ronald Reagan guilty of at Iran-Contra. And the only one got any time is Oliver North got a day, and he got a 1-year probation. That's it. That's not that. And you people, black ones, the white ones, the Hispanic ones, and the Asian ones, whoever the fuck watching, you people cannot allow motherfuckers to sit in them positions of powers and do dirt. And then the ones trying to fight the enemy, you let them oppress them. That's fucking wrong. That's wrong, but the collective voice of the people won't be heard as long as none of us won't speak up when we see the wrong being done. You know? So I'm told the motherfuckers once I started talking, I wasn't going to shut the fuck up. You know? So I'm not shutting the fuck up. This shit going to have to come to a head sooner or later. Family back together. As the Blues Brothers say, the band is back together, boys. Y'all about to see some shit. Prepare to be amazed this summer. This is going to be a beautiful summer. You know, Sister Soldier wrote a book, The Coldest Winter Ever. This is going to be the hottest summer ever. It's going to be hot figuratively and literally. And it's all going to be based off the power of the P-U-S-N-Y. That's pussy for y'all that didn't know. And that being the kitty cat. You dig? That being the old uterine in there. The uterus. The old sacred opening. The portal of life. The gate of the eternal. What else they call it? That which springs forth life. The Zamzam well, the never-ending waters that birthed from the Kilimanjaro, the Nile from between her legs, the Ainana stretch. What else do they say? What else do they call it? You know what I'm saying? The replica of the universe in which we was all created, the great noon. You know, it's the Yoni, the Vesica Pisces, the you know, can't get here if you don't go through that motherfucker. I don't give a fuck who you is. Adam built from a goddamn rib or from some dirt. If he didn't come through one of them motherfuckers, he was a robot. He was AI, artificial intelligence. Because if he didn't come through that uterus, he ain't no real motherfucker. He had to be a golem. You know what a golem is? It looks just like a human, but it's created through enchantment. They got y'all thinking it's some big, dumb, clunky Frankenstein monster. Look at the technology of Egypt. You think Babylon was that motherfucking far behind? It's just science don't work like that. Don't work like that. Like, for instance, I'm sitting here doing my history studies on the Library of Alexander. And everywhere I started doing the research, you got bands of priests leaving the Library of Alexander with motherfucking carts of books. It seems that they all went in the same direction in a little place called Italy, in a little uh, part of the Roman Empire, in a little town that they called Vatican. That they got a building called Vatican in, which is the dwelling place of the papal authority. The Alexandria Library is in the library at the Vatican. The only thing they burned was the duplicates and what was classified as non-essential reading. All of the real shit, it's in the Vatican Library. And the ones that ain't there is in Scotland Yard, because the priest there had to figure out a way to put that shit on lock. So where else better to hide that shit than in Scotland Yard, the most secure place in all of Europe. It was like putting it in Fort Knox. So you got a library of sacred artifacts, Scotland Yards. Only motherfucking IRA know that shit. Irish Republican Army up in this motherfucker know what to do. Yep. They part of the peace treaty too. We got La Cosa Nostra, black-faced Sicilians in this shit. You know? Motherfucking Godfather in them. The Round Table. You know? Motherfuckers that never bleed, that shit was... I told them motherfuckers, Hannibal's children made up Sicily. The Carthaginian army. And they was exiled because the ones they betrayed them, the Moors that betrayed them over there in the Congress, didn't want them infecting the good slaves of the mainland that they was deceiving until they fucking got caught. They got caught and got their ass thrown the fuck out of Europe. And then they came over here with that shit. I ain't done with them motherfuckers. I can't go at them like I want to because mama got me on stand down. But I can say what I already said. Because I already said it. I can't unsay, I don't have nothing to say it. You know? Ain't no retraction in that shit. I'm coming for that head. You dig? Babylon, Babylon. I'm coming for the Pharaoh's kids, motherfucker. You dig? So, I ain't gonna occupy y'all too much more with my vain babbling. It's 10:29. That's 10:11. That's a new birth flip right there. So, peace out, fam. We back at it. I'll give y'all an update when I get an update. It's a mutual symbiotic relationship between the leader and his constituents, between the people of the land and the leaders on the land that need to be walking the land as free men. You cannot be a bond servant and negotiate liberation and freedom. You got to be free if you're talking about freedom. This is why you could never get free, because we've been always arguing for our freedom from a bond servant's position as a corporate legal fiction. They don't got to give you nothing. Malcolm said, we fighting for civil rights. What about human rights? Basic human rights, basic human dignity, basic motherfucking shit. Food, clothing, and shelter. What about that kind of shit? What about common courtesy and walking down the street and speak to somebody because y'all caught eye contact? You don't know them and they don't know you, but the only way to tell the truth and break the ice is speak. No, we don't want to do that because they didn't put a nigga in our community that told us, look at that nigga staring at you, you gotta punch him in his shit. Then when you punch him in his shit, y'all get to scrapping. When it's all over, this nigga nowhere to be found. Then when you bump back into him, damn, that shit got thick, dog. I had to get out of there. Churncoat ass trader motherfuckers the same way sold out Denmark Vesey, Gabriel Prosser, and they even tell you in the story in Nat Turner that he was sold out by slaves, by niggas that look like him. They didn't call them slaves. They just said a Negro. A Negro alerted the authorities while they were asleep. A Negro from among them. We ain't Negroes. Y'all gotta remember that. They've been telling us the whole time, these Negropeans that's call itself the white man, but he ain't white, that been stuck up in our communities feeding us bullshit to keep us deluded into believing we from somewhere we not from, so therefore we can't say who we are, right? Some of y'all don't know who Goodwill's Witathini is, but he was the king of the Zulu Empire in South Africa. And he recently passed right after Credo Mutwa. But all of his constituents knew who he was. And the government of South Africa wouldn't fuck with him because that would cause a wrath of the people like none other. But here we is over here twiddling our thumbs and masturbating because it feel good but don't produce nothing, while our leaders is suffering, the ultimate suffering, on the behalf of the very people that's supposed to be fighting for their freedom. It's not hard. Stand the fuck up. You leaving all of the stand-up motherfuckers incapacitated while you leaving all these lay down and take it up the ass niggas in the street. They homosexual cult makes them push a homosexual gender so that they can convert and feminize your sons to act like daughters, so there's no defense for the women when the women decide enough is a goddamn enough. Who gonna motherfucking enforce that shit for you, all your boys sissies? But they say don't say nothing about the elemental Pew community. Fuck them motherfuckers. That shit wasn't over here before they came, and that shit can go back to Europe. Or wherever the fuck they brought it from, because it's not native to Earth. Right? They tell you in the same shit they brought over here. A man is not to lay with a man as a man lay with a woman. That's they shit that they brought over here while they doing exactly that. Fucking a boy, raping the kids. They doing all of the dirt on our shit. Right? So it's up to us. It ain't up to them. They don't control our destiny. We do. Yeah, Lovecraft was actually a loose depiction of what's going to be going on now. When you see all of the different ancient people from different countries around the world just so happen to pop up in America, and that's American Gods. Lovecraft Country was about the grimoires, the family records, in the family record book that's kept in cave tunnels so that you can't never see what the fuck is going on and where your people at. We all over this bitch. They kept record. They couldn't do it without keeping record. They know what tribe you belong to. You only got to worry about that shit. You just got to disassociate from the legal fiction. The legal fiction is an artificial corporation that they calling yourself your government. Right? This is why they talking about indicting Nancy Pelosi bitch ass, because the Speaker of the House is the leader of the government, not the president who leads the military. Right? So they got us all deluded into how the politics work, how the legal system work, in varying different aspects of shit like that. Right? Well, we ain't tricked no more. We not tricked no more. So, I'm looking in here just in case I got some good questions, because sometimes they come up. Yep, masters are here. In force. They all on this side of the water right now, from all over the world. Right. Oh yeah, Credo is my dude. So, when you understand what's going on,